I got my degree in theater, so
Well, I figured it had to be something,
Yeah. So that's my bread and butter to a certain extent. So it's really easy for me to put together a lot of these concepts and skits. And then two of the director and one of the camera guys, also their background is in theater and movies and documentary. So yeah, it's just what we all do or have a background in to a certain extent.
Well, from the filming of it, how long does it take you to actually film it? Each episode, how much time do you put involved into it? And you guys look like you were into it. So it really shows. I mean, honestly, when I first checked you out, and you said go to the YouTube channel, and I went on, was it I lather be shaving? Yeah, yep. I went to it and I figured, hey, I'll just watch one, to be nice. And all of a sudden I watched one, then I watched two.
Yeah.
And, it's
a rabbit hole.
I kind of got hooked on it. I mean,
Yeah, and that's what we like to hear. Because, what we really wanted to do was take what we love about traditional wet shaving and kind of make it like car talk. Where car talk, you don't have to know anything about cars. You're still going to listen to that show because those two guys are hysterical and they give you the history and they're funny. It's very entertaining.
Oh, yeah.
That's what or like American Pickers. We actually did an episode that was a play on American Pickers too, or Antique Roadshow. Like, whether you're into this stuff or not, it's just fascinating to watch. It's highly entertaining stuff, and that's what we want to do, but around traditional shaving. And we got lucky with the team we put together, and I think we've been doing really well for our niche anyways. And we've gotten a lot of great feedback. In fact, the head of Procter & Gamble is a huge fan of our show, too, and has actually sent us some prototypes, some ancient Gillette prototypes for us to use as well on our show. So, yeah, but once people get into it, they get into it, and it's endless. I mean, it's so fascinating to me because the history of shaving, we all shave, first of all, and the history of shaving goes back to Egypt or before. So, I mean, there's just endless amounts of material to talk about and to look into, and all the different inventions over the last 100 years when it comes to shaving and whatnot. It's endless, and it's absolutely fascinating once you get into it. And like people like us that are into the paranormal and all that other stuff, we're also big into antiques. We're into history, so it's not much of a leap for us, I think, to get into that. And that's what we try to, that's the type of vibe we're going for, and magic we're trying to create when it comes to each episode of I'd Love to Be Shaving.
Well, yeah, that's what I find so interesting about the episodes. I mean, you need to do one about aliens coming down and abducting somebody in their bathroom in the mirror, shaving the lather.
Well, we've talked about that. I've actually talked about us abducting an alien. Like, I get alien abduction wrong, and we end up abducting an alien instead. We've definitely talked about that, and there definitely will be some episodes in the near future where we're doing something that is either alien or some type of conspiracy or paranormal involved somewhere, shape, or form, because we find that stuff highly entertaining and fascinating.
Well, who thought about doing these? Was that you or somebody else? Did you just all of a sudden sitting down, having a beer?
That's how most things begin, right?
Yeah, and you sat down and said, "Hey, let's start doing this." And I mean, it's
not too far from the truth.
Okay.
Yeah, we definitely. I've had different podcasts and shows in the past. I had one called Mustache and Blade, where I talked about facial hair and shaving and whatnot. And I did that. My co-host was a documentary filmmaker named Ryan Stephen Green from Los Angeles, and that was a great show. That was one of the first wet shaving podcasts. And then I did another one called Cutting Edge. And these are all audio podcasts. And then I did a live video one called the Wet Shavers Roundtable. It would be a bunch of us traditional shavers that are either artisans or vendors, somehow involved in the industry of wet shaving. We'd come together each weekend and do this show, which is live and interactive. People could interact in the chat room and so on and so forth. And Matt, he is my co-host for I'd Love to Be Shaving. He owns the Razor Emporium out in Phoenix, Arizona. And yeah, he refinishes and tunes up vintage razors and so on, and just sells classic stuff, classic pieces of Gillette, and that's his focus is vintage Gillettes. Where my focus is vintage other brands from Europe and whatnot. That's what I really get into. And so after interviewing him a few times, we got to talking, and I always, wanted to do something with him. And I was like, maybe I can play the idiot and just ask you questions, and you can get all Rain Man on me about, But eventually, he was like, no, you know just as much as me, but just you have another focus there. So let's just do something like a morning show. And I was like, yeah, a morning show would be great. And so the more we talked about it, the more it came together. And then I was like, we got to take this on the road, like do road trips and whatnot. And every year, actually, I do a big wet shave, our traditional shaving festival called the Big Shave West, which it's not a conference. It's more like like a shaving festival. We have live demos of people making brushes, people making razors, people making soap, so on and so forth. We have live events that happen on stage. And last year we brought it to the stage at the Big Shave West, and that went over really well with the audience. We'd already had a few episodes out, so they knew what they were getting. But we did a live episode there, and that's actually on our channel as well. You'll see that one there. But yeah, it's just amazing the feedback we've gotten from people with this whole thing. So it's encouraging and motivates us to get even more creative with each episode.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I bet the editing is really fun.
I don't do that. I don't have anything to do, which is great because all my other, shows and whatnot, I've always been the guy editing. My first podcast, I would take about 8 to 12 hours to edit each episode. I was removing laughter. I was removing breath, everything. But this time around, that's not in my hands. I don't have to do that. The production team that does that. So it's great. I just show up. We do the shoot. We probably shoot 3 or 4 episodes on a weekend.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then they're edited. And this season, we're going to try to shoot even more in one weekend, so we can just bang them out. But it's just, it's really, we get a rough script, and we go over it right before we shoot, and we kind of just riff from there and put it together. Unless there's like some type of homage or some type of play on a certain, past show or a film or whatnot. There's not much of a script there, and we're just ad-libbing it.
Well, you guys do a good job of it. I mean,
thanks.
I think your co-host there kind of smiles a little bit at times, and
he doesn't know what to think of me.
I didn't want to say that.
No, I totally get that, and that's what we play off of. We try to just like those classic comedy duos. He needs to be the straight man half the time, so. I'm the Abbott to his Costello, maybe, or vice versa sometimes.
Yeah. Hey, a question. Like on the blades, where are most of the blades nowadays made? I mean, you can't even go into a local drugstore and really find blades anymore. So, yeah. I mean,
it's true.
I mean, what country are they coming from? Pakistan or
all over the place? They're actually all over. Gillette built many plants back in the day that are still open, or they were bought out by another company, but they're all over the world. Germany, France, the Middle East, Japan. Some of the best ones come out of Japan.
Oh, really?
They're called feather blades. They're the sharpest. They're made by like samurais, I believe. But feather blades are something to look for. Bolzano come out of Germany, but they're originally from Italy, but they're owned by a German company. But yeah, DE blades, they're still when we switched to cartridge razors, the rest of the world still kept using double-edged blades.
Well, I noticed too when the blades were kind of like disappearing. It seemed like towards the last, like what's the blue blades from Gillette or whatever.
Oh yeah, Gillette blue blades. Yeah,
they weren't, the quality of them weren't the same.
That's intentional. They did that intentionally so you would move over to cartridge razors.
Yeah, I was wondering that because, all of a sudden after years of shaving, and all of a sudden the blades were like dull after like the first time using them, or, you cut yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Or
yeah, that was by design. That's what I'm saying is a razor conspiracy that I like to talk about. That's really what they intentionally did to switch people over to cartridge razors.
Well, I guess you look at if you go out and pay a couple dollars for each razor, and then throw it away versus what? You go out and get so many blades for, under $1 back then?
Yeah, pennies to this day. 100 blades will cost you $9 to $15. 100 DE blades. And plus, there's so many different brands to choose from. There's so many different razors that you can choose from. You can finally customize the shave to your own unique face. You can't do that with a cartridge razor, which is like one size fits all.
Yeah.
And razor burn, razor bumps, none of this stuff existed back in the day when you were using a double-edged razor. It only appears when cartridge razors show up on the scene.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's all a byproduct of that.
Some
Beards,
of
too.
that, some of that
Beards
stuff.
suddenly show up.
Yeah, when that stuff came out, I hate to say it, it was pure junk. You know, you go out and buy this little cartridge thing, you put into the side of the razor and inject the blade into it, you know, and you get like maybe a full shave off of it, and then you put another blade in. They made it for you really, and the blades were expensive even back then when you got the cartridge system. So they made it. They I guess they did it purely for economics.
Yeah. And the goo in the can that you buy too, it's garbage, and it's loaded with propellants, stuff that you don't or shouldn't put on your face to begin with. And then the landfill after the fact, where now you're loading up landfills with cartridge razors, plastic, propellants in this can. Whereas traditional shaving, you use a brush and a puck of soap, a puck of shaving soap.
Yeah, God, the brush I had before it disappeared, I got that again from my father at the same time, and he probably had it. I know he had it he brought it back and even used it during World War II and brought it back. And then when I started getting whiskers, he goes, "Here, son, here's my old razor, and here's the brush." You know, it was kind of wore down, but it worked.
Yeah.
And,
it was broken in.
Yeah.
Probably really in good condition. I mean, broken in. Like, that's what you want to do. A lot of times when you get these brushes the first time, especially Badger brushes, they smell like gamey, like the animal still. And you got to break them in. You got to split the hairs, split the ends before it becomes really comfortable on your face. But yeah, Badger, Boa, even horsehair brushes, they're still making them. I actually prefer synthetic brushes. Synthetic hairs on brushes have come such a long way compared to what they were like back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
It was almost like fishing line, like the nylon fishing line.
Pretty much, I remember that. Yeah,
you can't tell nowadays. I make a brush. I call it teddy bear hair. That's how like soft and like real it feels. It's pretty funny. In fact, one of my shows when I was announcing my teddy bear hair, I had a whole fake protest happening in front of my store where it was stuffed animal activists where they're trying to shut me down.
Oh, for the brush?
Yeah, when I was announcing my new teddy bear hair brush.
Oh, wow.
I had this whole play around it, but I wrote fake letters to myself, and I really tried to get some mileage out of that. But yeah, we do it all. We like to have fun with what we do.
Oh, wow.
We do.
Well,
I want to pretty much do what the Dollar Shave Club guy does, but with traditional wet shaving. I want to bring that back and take down the cartridge razors completely. That's my mission in life, really. So, look for me.
Yeah, well, I really was looking at your website. It's really awesome. I mean, it's really informative. I mean, you got the products there. I was looking at your deodorants. I was looking at your deodorant. Yeah. I was looking at the different aftershave lotions, at the blades, the razor, even the shaving mugs and all that stuff. That brings back. I'll be honest with you. I used to enjoy shaving when I was like in my 20s and stuff like that.
Exactly.
I remember taking my brush and building up the lather with my special soap for shaving soap, and and very rarely after I learned how to shave, I never hardly ever cut myself. I didn't have ingrown hairs. I didn't have sore skin or anything like that. And plus, I would shave in the morning, and at night I didn't have. That's the trouble with like these razors. You get a good shave, but you're not getting a good shave with a disposable razor, because before 5 o'clock, all of a sudden you got hair growing back on your face again. Yeah. So I mean,
there's something. So many folks do not enjoy shaving anymore. That's why you have this whole beard, this popular fad of beards coming back. That's more just a byproduct of this cartridge razor world that we live in. But with wet shaving, with traditional wet shaving, you learn to enjoy the shave for the first time for some of us. It's like green tea ceremony. It's meditative. It's time away for yourself, and like the hot lather on your face. A lot of these guys today don't know what hot lather is. Hot lather, the exfoliating effect of using a brush on your face, relathering and doing another pass. I do about 4 passes. With a cartridge razor, they never taught you that. You did 1 pass with it, and then you were on your way.
Yeah.
It's about getting that BBS, or baby butt smooth shave again. So there's that, and there's the element with what I'm trying to do with incorporating little stories and anagrams and stuff to decode. I mean, each sales page tells a story, especially when it comes to Agartha or high jump, which is what I've been talking about tonight. Like the Agartha trilogy I do, each sales page starting with High Jump 47, then Strange Island to Agartha holds pieces of the story of the puzzle. So it's even more than shaving. It's an entire experience. It's a story. It's like that feeling you get when the lights go down in the theater and like the anticipation, or like when you pull an album out of the, a vinyl album out of the sleeve, you put it on, you sit in your chair, and you're looking at the album cover, like that magical moment. Like that's what I want people to experience when they're using my product and they're experiencing traditional shaving for the first time and every time after.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? If you actually gave somebody a razor and you gave them the brush and the soap, they probably would look at it. I'm talking about somebody in their 20s, 30s.
Yep.
They wouldn't even know how to even use